It's the understanding of the Mark Dolan show that an increasingly desperate Prince Harry is now begging his father, King Charles, for a face-to-face meeting when the Duke visits the UK next month for his work as patron of the Well Child charity. By the way, let's hope that he doesn't demonstrate his reverse Midas touch with the Well Child charity, given the fact that Sente Barley, the charity that he founded in memory of his mother, is now a smoking ruin and a public relations dumpster fire. Now, this programme has been told by royal insiders that Harry, and I quote, will do literally anything to get a face-to-face with Charles. Now, of course, this is following the well-publicised meeting between representatives of the Duke and the King, which took place last month. Now, we understand that it was Harry's people that were behind this meeting because Harry is desperate to build bridges with the royal family. Now, why is this happening? Well, I think it's very clear what's at play. Harry is in trouble and he needs a reconciliation with Charles and his family, and he needs this meeting as a matter of survival. With his life in California collapsing around his ears, this is existential. Now, Charles, of course, is battling a serious disease. Charles has cancer, which is absolutely devastating, and clearly Harry is mindful of that, which means that Harry himself, he knows that he's running out of time to make this reunion happen. And notwithstanding that, Harry himself is in trouble. Harry is running out of not just time, Harry's running out of money. The Mark Dolan show exclusively revealed that Harry is flat broke. And don't be fooled by that fake news around the Netflix deal. The Netflix deal was a polite way of Netflix divorcing from the couple, but we'll come to that shortly. Harry's running out of time. He's running out of money. He's running out of credibility. And the goodwill, well, that has long since departed. So Harry feels that he's in the last chance saloon. He's painted himself into a corner and he's got to fight his way out. Now, what we're hearing about this extraordinary intervention from Harry is that he is desperate to resolve his issues at home in the United Kingdom with his own family, because he and his wife Meghan, it's quite clear for all to see, are heading in dramatically different directions. And whilst Meghan continues to generate headlines and a couple of media contracts, Harry is becoming an increasingly diminished and irrelevant figure. So Harry knows deep down that it hasn't worked out in the United States. There's no future for him there in terms of any enterprise, any business opportunities. The media, even the woke late night talk show hosts, the one that still have a gig, even they are laughing at him on a regular basis, given he and Meghan's double standards. But he's definitely despair in his own marriage now, and Harry is mindful of the fact that it's not working out in America. He's got no future in that great country, because when you go to America, you have to contribute something. That's why it is such a remarkable place, why it's the most successful country in history. Yes, America's not perfect. Of course not. Name me a country that is, but it's a global beacon of democracy, enterprise, freedom, the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and excellent glazed donuts and bottomless coffee. Cheers, by the way. You come to America, you have to contribute something. It's a competitive place. And Harry, he can't keep up. And he actually has been outdone by his wife, who makes all the headlines, who has a social media footprint, and who is the only one that's bringing anything in that resembles a decent income. So Harry knows that. Plus, he knows that his marriage is shaky. Now, the Mark Dolan show is the first show in the world to place Harry and Meghan on 24/7 divorce watch. I say that with no pleasure, but I guarantee you the relationship won't work, because I've looked at Meghan's track record, and what she does is she uses people and then throws them away. It doesn't matter how big they are. She outgrows everyone. That would include her ex-husband, her half-siblings, and her own father, Thomas Markle. So Harry's next, and deep down, he knows it. So he wants this meeting with his father because he realizes that there he is in the metaphorical casino. He's put it all on black or red. I don't know too much about gambling. He's put it on L77. Is that something you can do in Vegas? I don't know. But he's gambled everything on Megs. He's put all his Megs in one basket. You are welcome. Which is marvelous. Except that he chose the wrong person. He demonstrated a lack of intelligence and he demonstrated a lack of instinct. And he ignored everyone around him by marrying Meghan Markle. He was warned not to by his friends that said she was weird and, I quote, a nightmare. He was warned not to by his brother, William, who said, don't rush into this. And even crazy Randy Andy, Uncle Andrew, who's wrong about almost everything, was absolutely right to say that the marriage won't last and that you need to do your due diligence on this woman, check out who she is. And let's be honest, Andy speaks from experience about having a rocky past with the ladies, with the opposite sex. Complicated, I should say so. So Harry knows that he needs Charles and he needs the royals. It may already be too late. Let me know in the comments, is it already too late for Harry? Has he burned his bridges? Is there any way back for Harry, for the H-bomb, for my husband into the royal family? Let me know. But if he does manage to meet Charles, because he wants to meet him next month, a matter of weeks away, he wants to meet Charles, and that will be their first face-to-face since February 2024, when Harry flew over to the United Kingdom after the tragic news of Charles's cancer diagnosis. Interestingly, depending on which report you listen to, Harry was granted 15 minutes to half an hour with the king in February of last year. 15 minutes to half an hour, right? If that was an encounter with a parent of mine, that's barely enough time to give them a big hug, thank them for everything they've done, and take off my overcoat, get into my slippered socks. What am I on about? The bottom line is that 15 minutes is nothing. It's no time. And honestly, if I visited my parents, my dad sadly is not around anymore, but 15 minutes, that's enough time just to get the kettle on, a couple of tea bags in the kettle, right? Warm the pot with the hot water beforehand. That's how it works with families. You can't do anything in 15 minutes. It takes my mother 15 minutes to deconstruct my appearance when I visit her before we've even dealt with any family issues. I have 15 minutes of a discussion about my hair, my teeth, my fingernails, my outfit. That takes quarter of an hour before we get to anything like family business. So the idea that poor old Harry is going to achieve anything with Charles in a quarter of an hour with the bombshell news that he had cancer. So the issue is that was an emergency with the Charles having this life-threatening illness, and he gets a quarter of an hour to 30 minutes max. Well, how long is he going to get with Charles this time round, given that it's no longer really an emergency because they've had that conversation? Will Charles just give him 5 minutes? I mean, would that be a slap in the face for Charles to say, Harry, I shall agree to meet you. I'm very busy with my organic gardening. Camilla, of course, has her demands. She's a woman of appetites, so she must be fulfilled, which takes time. And then I've got my charitable duties. And then, of course, the small matter of being king of the United Kingdom and leader of Britain and the Commonwealth. So I can give you 5 minutes. Wouldn't that be a great insult? So Harry's got to go, hi, Dad. Well, okay. Sorry for everything. Hope your cancer isn't too bad. I'm going back to Montecito. Bye. Humpy-dumpy-dumpy-dump. Poor Prince Harry, world's least happy millionaire, jetting around the world in a private jet with a Hollywood actress wife, couple of million in the bank, and a Montecito mansion with 16 bathrooms. My terrible life. Humpy-dumpy-dumpy-dump. Well, I don't know how long Charles should give him. Should this meeting be granted at all? The Mark Dolan Show understands that Harry is begging for a face-to-face in his latest desperate move. I've got more on this after a very brief word from some very good friends of mine, the sponsors of the Mark Dolan Show. Are you sick of biased news? Well, so am I. And that's why every morning, with my big cup of decaf in my Father's Day mug that I actually bought for myself, I read Ground News. It shows how stories are covered differently by the left, the right and the centre. Take this one, for example, President Donald Trump's tariff crusade. Some outlets say that he's mad and is wrecking the economy. Others say that he's standing up for American jobs and will triumph. Well, Ground News shows both sides and lets you decide, because it turns out you've got a brain! Who knew? So try Ground News. Go to ground.news/Dolan or click the link below. You will get a 40% off discount from the Vantage plan. 40% off for the plan that I use for unlimited access. It is a game-changing way to consume the news. And more importantly, it will make you sound very clever at dinner parties. Ground News is subscriber funded. No billionaire overlords pulling the strings. Just the unvarnished truth from every angle. What's not to like? That is ground.news/Dolan. I'll drink to that. What's clear is if this meeting happens, William will have nothing to do with it, because Prince William is out. He is done. Finito. Adios. Gute Nacht. Bis morgen. Auf die Treppe schnell. Meine Freunde. Gehe ich ins Kino. Mit das Mädchen. Can you feel the love tonight? I mean, there's a question for you. Does Charles, answer this in the comments, right? Are you ready? Y'all ready for this? Does Charles still love Harry? What do you think? Does Charles still love Harry? I don't know. Is it possible to love someone when they've hurt you that badly? In Charles's case, having his fathering skills, his fatherly talents criticised by Harry, saying he wasn't much of a dad. And then, of course, goes on the BBC and grants upon Charles essentially a death sentence by saying, I don't know how long he's got, which is a remarkably cold and flippant thing to say about anyone. I wouldn't even say that about Vladimir Putin. Oh, Vladimir is a good friend of mine. Vladimir. He's invaded a country. He's not a good man. But I don't think I'd say to anyone, don't know how long they've got. Especially not my own father. So that's pretty wild. But Harry is in a dark place and he's desperate and he knows that he needs this. How long should the meeting be? But is it possible that Charles still loves Harry? Do let me know in the comments. I'm fascinated to hear what you think about that, because I suspect he does, because I think the problem with Charles is he's too nice. Charles is too nice. And that's why Harry is the absolutely spoiled brat that he is. It's Charles's fault. Now, I think there's a few reasons why. I think that when Diana passed, I think that the parent that's left behind overcompensates. I've seen that with a single parent family situation where mum runs away or dad runs away, and you've got a single parent family who do an amazing job. It's a tough thing. And sometimes the parent will overcompensate and spoil the child out of guilt. And I just wonder whether that's what Charles did with Harry, is spoiled him rotten. But I think it could also be because Charles just loves him so much. Blood is thicker than water, and Charles has got a big heart. I will tell you that I do not think that William loves Harry anymore. I actually don't. I mean, I've quoted royal insiders on this show who, and I quote, not my words, words of royal insiders that know the family well, William effing hates Harry. Yikes! So William does not love Harry anymore, in my opinion. Let me know if you disagree. William's out. William does not want anything to do with this whatsoever, and will be raging at the idea of his younger brother pestering his father for a face-to-face meeting in September. The issue Harry's got is that he does need to get a move on, because Charles is an older man and he's battling cancer. Harry's got to get this resolved before William becomes king, because when William's king, it is game over. And as we well know, when William becomes king, he will take Harry down, and he will take him down to Chinatown is where he'll take him. For East Asian cuisine, a lot of deep fried food, a lot of pork, a lot of fish, a lot of shellfish Because Harry is so shellfish himself. What a shellfish monster he is. A little sea anemone, little shark. He's a little prawn, isn't he? Shrimp. That's what he is. He's a shrimp. He's a freckled ginger shrimp. Oh, poor Prince Harry, little freckled shrimp on the Barbie. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump. Ah, get on you, mate. Put a shrimp on the Barbie. Rupert Murdoch, by the way, waiting in the wings to marry Meghan Markle. I mean, you might think it's a conspiracy theory. Meghan's got the fame. She's got the power. She's got the social media influence. What she hasn't got is money. When she divorces Harry, she'll be looking at people like Rupert Murdoch. And he'll be well up for it. She's a good-looking woman. And it'd be a great investment. I've made a lot of good investments in my life. And Meghan Markle, the Duchess, that's a good investment. That's worth a few billion on the balance sheet. She'll bring value. She'll bring headlines, column inches. I'll be investing big time in Meghan Markle. Oh, I really love Rupert. My new husband, Rupert Murdoch. I call him R. Didn't you know? I'm not Meghan Markle anymore. No. I'm not Meghan Sussex anymore. Didn't you know that? I'm not Meghan Sussex anymore. No. I'm Meghan Murdoch. Sound investment. Should be a good investment. One of the best couple of billion I've ever spent investing in Meghan Markle. If Harry waits until William is king, forget it. Forget about it, as they say in New York. Forget about it. Forget about it. It ain't going to happen. Because William will take him down to Chinatown for a lot of soy-based snacks. A lot of noodles. A lot of crustaceans. And ducks hanging in the window of the restaurant. I don't know why that is, that they hang the animal in the window of the restaurant. I suppose you're supposed to enjoy the look of it and want to eat in there. But the hanging carcasses of overly roasted, boiled then roasted duck. So his life, I'm not even kidding, folks. Harry's life won't be worth living when William is king. William is going to march around. He's going to be so good looking in that crown. Yikes. By the way, that is a cure for crown for baldness, isn't it? Wearing a crown. But that is not, you lose your hair. It's not a problem. I have a crown. That's a mic drop, folks. And then, of course, we know that when Catherine becomes queen, Meghan Markle will implode. She will metamorphosize into a cloud of dust. The hyper-competitive Meghan Markle, the internal organs will actually collapse into themselves when she sits there in her Montecito mansion, gobbling up flour sprinkles. By the way, the flour sprinkles, toxic, hallucinogenic, and people aren't supposed to eat flowers apart from courgettes and stuff. Meghan Markle's internal organs will fold into themselves when she's sat there watching the coronation of Queen Catherine. Meghan's eyes will fall out of their sockets and just hang loose, like in a cartoon. Her skin will make a sizzling sound like frying bacon, just like that. And the hair will just be fully on fire. What I'm trying to say is that, baby, by being a great woman, baby, you've been bound to me. And I say, don't know much about history, don't know much biology. What I do know is I love you. And if this place could be with you, what a wonderful world this would be. Ha ta 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 ta. History. Woo, biology. So what ta 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 ta. Science book. American music, by the way. Oh my goodness, how good. How good. How deep is your love? So Harry and Meghan, basically, William's accession to the throne, that is ground zero for Harry and Meghan. That is Armageddon. That is the nuclear button. That is the tipping point of global warming and the ozone layer and floods. And it's basically, it's going to go very biblical when William and Catherine are become king and queen. I mean, sparks will fly, which is why, and that's my point, which is why Harry, the H-bomb, my husband. It's amazing, isn't it? The Mark Dolan show's had millions and millions of views since we came on air. And this was the first show in the world, by the way. The first show in the world, thanks to you. This show is you. First show in the world to point out that she calls Harry my husband. My husband. We made it a feature of the show. It's a catchphrase, as you well know. And she didn't get the memo. She still calls him my husband, which I think's abusive behavior. Because it's about making him small, it's about belittling him, it's about making him absolutely worthless. Because I think that's what people who are controlling and manipulative and potentially narcissistic like Meghan Markle do. I think that when Catherine becomes queen, I think that the air will leave Meghan Markle's lungs. So she'll be there in the Montecito mansion, Montecito, and she'll be watching the coronation, and the air will just go like that, like an inflatable device, devoid of any frische Luft, right? No air whatsoever. Wie geht's denn? Wie geht's Ihnen, meine Freunde? Was passiert? Comment ça va? Vous allez bien? Moi aussi. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi pas ce soir? Parce que je me lave. Bonjour. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? By the way, are we about to have what's happening in Washington, D.C.? It's quite massive, isn't it? All of the world leaders of Europe and the United States president and Zelensky of Ukraine, they're all meeting. Are we on the verge of some kind of deal here? Wouldn't that be something else? Wouldn't that be a cause for celebration? Do you know what they need? There's somebody just to go in and close that deal between Vladimir and Volodymyr. And the person I'd send in is hello, President Putin. Hello, Volodymyr Zelensky. I've come to encourage you to make a peace deal because I know all about peace, because I'm the one that pieced off my entire family by writing a book about them, managed to fall out with an entire country who once loved me, and I'm the laughingstock in my new country of residence. So, and by the way, I completely destroyed an entire charity called Centabale, of which I've lost control, which is now a smoking ruin of a charity and a public relations dumpster fire. So I thought I'd be quite good to come along and help out with this peace deal. Imagine sending Harry in there. I mean, what would happen is, do you know what would happen? That's why we got to send Harry in. Send Harry to Washington. It's a short trip from California. Harry, bring an umbrella. When I was in DC, it was July. Cameraman John and I thought it would be sunny. It was torrential rain. It was like November weather. It's a funny the East Coast of America is a tricky, climate-wise, quite tricky. Send Harry. I know what will happen, which is Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr will look at each other and go, this guy is such an idiot, isn't he? You know, Volodymyr will be like, what a loser. I mean, he thinks he's got problems. My country has been invaded. And he's been moaning about his terrible life in England. And Vladimir Putin's like, I know. He's doing my head in with all that stuff about how Charles wasn't a great father and all the press intrusion. It's quite amazing, really. I mean, Harry is in the kind of lower leagues of unpopular people globally alongside Vladimir Putin. Who's worse, Putin or Prince Harry? I don't know. It's got to be Putin. He's invaded a country. He's a bad man. But you get my point. Neither of them are exactly flavor of the month. Anyway, what would happen is Putin and Zelensky would agree that Harry was a prize numpty and that they would that could be something like that's common ground. And as you know, the way that you establish peace is common ground, and the two of them could be united in their agreement that Harry's an idiot. And then they sign a peace deal and we can all get on with our lives. Wouldn't that be nice? So if Harry waits until William is king, forget it. Okay. At that point, when Meghan is watching the coronation of Queen Catherine, Meghan's fingernails will simply fall off. They'll just fall away off her fingers, and the toenails as well, which will just catapult into the ether, is what's going to happen. The eyelashes will fall out. Her liver might just escape through an unnamed part of her body. I don't know what's going to happen. It's getting biological. I can't speculate. I'm not a doctor, but they can't wait until William is king. So Harry knows it's now. The alternative is Invictus, which when it comes to Birmingham in the United Kingdom, and that's 2027. That's a long time from now, folks. Harry can't take that chance. Charles is battling cancer. And here's the interesting thing. It's my interpretation that I think Charles actually does want this peace deal, because Charles famously said to his two sons before the whole Megxit thing happened, he said, please don't destroy my final years. Well, if Charles was in that was before his cancer diagnosis, without being unkind, the final years is a very apposite term now, isn't it? And I think Charles is going to meet Harry halfway on this one. And I know you won't be happy. I doubt that many of you think this meeting should happen. But Charles is aware of his mortality. And we saw it again just a couple of days ago when the King and Queen were moved to tears by the powerful first-hand testimony of VJ veterans as they spoke at a service of remembrance, marking 80 years since the end of the Second World War. And this will bring home to Charles his own mortality and that life is short. And I think, against his better judgment and for everything that Harry's done, he wants to do this deal. And maybe it's going to be like Russia and Ukraine, where it's a terrible deal. And maybe Charles is Ukraine and gives away far too much. But it seems to be that that's what Charles wants. Harry knows that he's on his own, so Harry wants it now. This is becoming existential. By the way, Meghan does not want it. Because what Meghan does, Meghan brought Harry to America, deliberately turned him against his country, his own people, and his own family. Because that's how Meghan does it. That's how she operates. She did it with her showbiz friends. She did it with her half-siblings. She did it with her lovely ex-husband, Trevor Engelson. And she did it with Thomas Markle, her own father, who lives. Are you aware of his accommodation circumstances? This guy now lives, Thomas Markle, in the Philippines. He's in the Philippines. He is in the Philippines. The penis Philip is he in. Philip Penis is his accommodation in a high-rise, which I doubt is substantially safe. Probably, dodgy contracts around there, corrupt builders and local officials. No aircon, sweating his knackers off in the dead of the night. Watching reruns of Suits, right? The only chance he gets to see Meghan is watching Suits. Oh, she was really good in season 4. Liked her a lot in season 4. With an apartment, this is actually true, by the way. An apartment that overlooks a 7-lane highway. 3 in the morning. 5 in the morning. Rush hour. Who needs an orchestra? Oh, I went to see Oliver the Musical the other day. Oh, you've got to pick a pocket or two. Have you seen the musical Oliver? It's incredible. I might do a special on that. It was so good. The songs, talk about a jukebox musical, one hit after the other. If you're in the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, if you're in Europe, if you're in Germany, Italy, France, the Philippines, wherever you are, you can watch the movie of it. It's brilliant. I'll tell you the whole story sometime. But a very humble man that had never had any musical training writes this musical, a guy called Lionel Bart. and it was a global multi-million-dollar smash hit. And every year it comes back. Every 5 years it comes back because it's that good. Oliver, consider yourself one of the family. So Harry knows that he's on his own. Megs does not want peace because she dumps people like her father. And the thing with Meghan is when you're out, you're out. There's no way back in. It's like a legally binding treaty. So Meghan's not invested in that because she wants to keep Harry weak and isolated because it's what people like her do. And if they do meet Charles and Harry, what would they talk about? I mean, you would hope that it's Harry that would apologize, except that this spoiled brat is on record as saying that he's waiting for an apology. How is it possible that William and Charles would apologize to their traitorous son and brother, respectively? So what will they talk about? If it's not Harry just saying, I'm sorry for half an hour, then he can go whistle, baby. By the way, Paul McCartney's story. Have I told you this story? You need to hear it before I get to the key twist in this tale. I was in a cafe. No, I wasn't. I was in an art gallery in Hampstead Heath in North London. Hampstead Heath, lovely big uncultivated park. And I'm in this art gallery with one of my sons, who I call Elton and Bernie for their own privacy. And I'm with, I think, the younger one, Bernie. And we're looking at artworks in this lovely art gallery. And it's called no, it's not called Lauderdale House. It's called Kenwood House. Kenwood House. Interestingly, a building owned by the founder of Guinness, the Irish drink. Isn't Guinness an amazing phenomenon? I was in a pub the other day, in a bar the other day, and I observed to the person I was with that if you think about Guinness, it's the only beverage, certainly in the beer genre, that there's no rival. I mean, there are other stouts, but no one mentions them, right? Guinness has no rivals. You know, with beers, you've got different lagers, different ales, right? Millions, haven't you? I mean, we know which one is the king of beers. It's Budweiser. We know that because it says king of beers on every bottle and on every can. But Guinness has no rivals. You just have Guinness, don't you? And in the UK, every single pub is obliged to serve Guinness on tap. And we were in this venue and they only had 4 beers on tap. And one of them was Guinness. That is the distribution of Guinness. Quite remarkable. They got no rivals. But the founder of Guinness bought and owned, he might even have built this lovely house, Kenwood House. And then I think when he died, he gave it to the people of London. Isn't that a lovely thing? Anyway, we're in this Kenwood House. Great story. If I say so myself. What's the story, Morning Glory? So I'm in there with my youngest. And a lady walks past. And I thought, funny that lady looks a bit like Heather Mills McCartney, who at that time was Paul McCartney's wife. I just thought it's funny that lady that walked past, she looks a bit like Paul McCartney's wife. I shrugged my shoulders. It was just an observation I made. Who cares? It's not a story. It's not a story that I've seen someone that looks a bit like a famous person's wife. Not even the famous person's wife, just looks a bit like her. That's not a story, is it? It's not front page news, but. So that's all fine. It's like a movie. It's like a plot device, right? I forgot about it. And an hour goes by and we go to a little cafe and we have a cup of tea and maybe a scone with butter and jam, that kind of thing. And then we're back out. I'm back with my young son. He must have been about maybe 3 or 4. And do you know, now that I tell you the story, it was my eldest. It was Elton, not Bernie. So he was young, 3 or 4 years of age. And I was throwing a ball to him and he was like throwing it back. What a parent. I mean, father of the year, dad of the year, you're welcome. Anyway, that's all fine. And my son, I've got to get this story right. My son is playing. A dog, a really cute dog, runs towards my son, who's about 3. This is not a scary dog, this is a little fluffy thing. A cute little designer dog, So the dog is like hopping along. I think he's trying to get the ball or something. So the dog runs towards my son. And my son's really sweet and looks at the dog, and the dog's got these sweet little eyes. And I think the dog wants the ball. At which point, the owner of the dog, that's maybe 3 meters, 4 meters in front of me, whistles for the dog to come back. That's what an owner would do, right? The little dog goes towards the 3 or 4-year-old. The owner would whistle to get the dog back. And the owner would say, "Hey, Fido, that's not your ball." So the owner of the dog does a little whistle like this, but really really nice little whistle, a really neat. I'm not that great a whistler. I look up, and the person doing that whistling is Sir Paul McCartney, folks. It was Paul McCartney that whistled in my direction with a brand new original composition via whistling that only I heard and my 3 or 4-year-old son, Elton. So I've been whistled at by Sir Paul McCartney, and it was quite a moment. And I'm very proud and very happy for my eldest son to have been that close to a musical legend and to have had him whistle in his direction. But that's a true story. I looked up, it's like, it's bloody Paul McCartney. I mean, what the heck? At which point I'm like, that was Heather Mills McCartney, his ex-wife, who's quite an interesting lady who was involved in a car accident as a teenager. She lost a leg, but became a world famous model. Interesting lady. She got $30 million from the divorce, which I will tell you is not much. She should have got a lot more. Paul McCartney's worth around 800 or 900 million, maybe $1 billion now. He's probably a billionaire. And she should have got more than 30 million. But she fell out. She kept arguing with her counsel, with her legal counsel. And I think she fired them and then represented herself. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. I mean, obviously 30 million is nice, don't get me wrong. But if you've been married to Paul McCartney, right, who was pretty much the dominant figure, the driving force of the Beatles, if you were married to Paul McCartney and you had a child with him that they did, I think you'd expect a bit more than $30 million, I must say. But hey, McCartney had a good lawyer and Heather Mills McCartney was not so wise in her judgment. But anyway, there you go. I looked at Paul McCartney, he whistled at me. It was a great and glorious moment because I don't think it gets much better than Sir Paul, does it really? What would they talk about? And where would the trust be in this meeting? Harry would just have to say, "I'm sorry," 100 times with a tattoo saying, "I'm sorry" on his forehead, written the wrong way round so you could know what it said in a mirror. Where's the trust? Surely Charles will be concerned that anything that happens in that meeting will be leaked to the press and will be material for Spare 2, because that's the problem. If they do make up, yes, on the face of it, it's about, blood is thicker than water and all of that. But the reality is it would revive Harry's brand. And what would he do? He would exploit it. And even if he didn't want to exploit it, I can think of someone that would want to exploit it. My husband. Come on, H, you got to write another book. There's so much more to say. And we need the money, baby. Money makes the world go round. The other issue is that Harry's desperate for this meeting because he knows his father's not going to be around forever. Harry fears obscurity and being irrelevant. He's been world famous since he was born, having done nothing to achieve that, only winning the womb lottery. And it's my view that the reason why he's been pushing for royal security when he's in the UK, suing the British government, is not because he's worried about his safety. This guy's been to Ukraine, China, Botswana, Lesotho, no, Colombia, downtown LA. Yikes. Harry wants the security in the UK. It's a flex. It's his ego. He wants to be surrounded by courtiers and men in Ray-Ban sunglasses speaking into their lapels. He wants attention because he's spoiled. He wants to have his cake and eat it. And he wants it done now because he knows that in 5 years' time, it's over. It's too late. The other question is, where would they meet? How many meetings would there be? And would there be an announcement? Would there be a press conference about this? Would they take questions? Would it mean that Harry's back in the royal front line? Does that get the grandkids back in? Does that mean that Meghan's back in? And if Meghan's back in, does that reignite the bitter Cold War between Meghan and Catherine? I'm not having it. Not on my watch. The world's gone mad. But Harry knows the game's up. He's desperate. And I'm not surprised that we're hearing that he's begging Charles for a meeting. His relationship with America's over. His relationship with Meghan is over. And Meghan is sorted. She actually sees Harry as a total liability. Unfortunately, at the moment, it looks like King Charles does not see Harry as a liability. It's a colossal misjudgment. Folks, I cannot wait to see you for the next show. We're always evolving, always changing. And I'm going to experiment with a slightly earlier publishing time. Of course, it doesn't affect anyone because the show will always be there Sunday through Thursday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tell me why I don't like Sundays. Tell me why I don't like Sundays. We're going to post a bit earlier. But but always Sunday to Thursday. It was a little experiment to post at 6 p.m. in the UK, which takes you to the morning in the West Coast of America and lunchtime in the East Coast. And it is the middle of the night in Australia and New Zealand. In the middle of the night. But what it means, basically, if you're in Australia and New Zealand, is that you wake up to the Mark Dolan show. It's a little tweak. We'll see how it goes just for a week. But the bottom line is you're always going to get the Mark Dolan show. Every Saturday, Sunday. No. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Listen, loving those comments. Keep them coming. So much love for Janet as well, who is our treasured viewer, who's in the final stages of a cancer diagnosis. We love you, Janet. We're thinking of you. We're praying for you. And your spirit is with us. And your message originally, you're an amazing lady. And I hope you're surrounded by loved ones, as you absolutely deserve to be. Big fat kiss to you. And I want to convey how my viewers and listeners are sending so much love in your direction, because we're a big family here, aren't we? And a part of the family is my neighbour's cat, Reg, who is always disturbing me, making it hard for me to go about my business. And here is the latest installment, my latest encounter with my neighbour's cat, Reg. See you tomorrow. Bye for now. Now, they say an Englishman's home is his castle, and I take great care of the garden. I'm endlessly mowing it and weeding it. I mean, look at it. It's like something out of Buckingham Palace, isn't it? All right. King Charles is envious. But there's a huge problem today, because I was about to attack that lawn, which is nearly like the surface at Wimbledon. And there's a problem. How am I supposed to cultivate the garden and the lawn when there's been a species invasion? Oh, for goodness sakes. I mean, this is a crisis in the natural world. Okay, there's a lot of problems. We've got global warming, we have pollution, and we have furry felines attacking London gardens, making it impossible for green-fingered horticulturists like me to do my great work. Reg, I need to actually have a word with you. Now, first of all, yeah, good morning. Very, very nice to see you. But the only thing is, Reg, you're in the way of my industrial capacity lawnmower. And I know you're very relaxed and happy there. You can zoom in on old Reg if you like, cameraman John. I know that you're very happy there in the garden. But the problem is, if you make contact with my industrially powered lawnmower, you're going to become collateral damage. And there won't just be chunks of grass, there'll be chunks of cat. And we can't have that. So if you don't mind awfully, just moving on. Yeah, Reg, I command you, can you please leave the garden? It's an order. Reg, don't make me raise my voice. Shall I say it in cat language? Meow, 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 out of the garden, meow, meow, meow. I don't seem to be able to get my message across. Cameraman John, do a crazy zoom on that innocent little rascal's face. The gardening will have to wait for another day.